Everybody and their dogs have New Year's resolutions or goals for the new year. But to many, January feels bleak or dark or depressing. You know, it came after Christmas where there's all this hurrah, and New Year's Eve where you cheer, clang pans and pots and whatnot. But January is always that, the most depressing month of the year. So you make resolutions and you make goals. I'm not one to do that. I don't love making resolutions, but something I'm going to do this year is a plan. And this video is going to tell you about my plan. January feels like a fresh start, but again, it's also heavy. They talk about goals, but not many people talk about how to begin. And that's where we're going to start with this. How to begin. And obviously it's about running. I started in June, but fast forward to January, we're over 200 plus days on a running streak, and we're going to continue to go. January running isn't glamorous. It's cold, it's wet, it's oftentimes super dark in the morning when I get out there and I run, and motivation wears off fast, especially after all those New Year's hurrahs. And that's exactly what January taught me, that I gotta have a good mental game. We start imperfect, and we start right away because why are we waiting? Some runs were short, some were slow, some were just about showing up, which I've done. And you guys know that because you've watched the channel before. So if you haven't figured things out, the plan is to do a monthly vlog in this style and talking about the month itself. And this month was January, and it was bleak and it was miserable, but I had some highs as well. But we'll talk about those lows. The mental battles were real for the first few weeks of January. I don't know whether it was coming off of Christmas, whether it was coming off of a 2-week break from work, but the battle was there in my head, and it felt very tough to get out the door every single day. There were days where I checked my watch and instantly felt disappointed. Not because the run was bad, but it didn't match the version of me I had imagined January 1st. That gap between expectation and reality, that's where most people stop. But here we are, the end of January, and we're continuing to move on. We're continuing to push forward. We're continuing to get out that door, even on dark, wet, stormy days. If it's cold, if there's frost on the ground. January taught me that consistency doesn't feel impressive at first. It totally doesn't. It feels like you're running in mud, 1 foot at a time, or you're sinking in that quicksand. It looks quiet. It looks long. It looks boring. It looks like you're putting in the work without doing any work. And it's not actually working. But again, that's where everything starts. And again, this isn't a resolution. This is just me continuing to crush those goals of doing this every single day. The plan is what I'm doing here with you guys, and I'm gonna continue to do that every month this year. So in January, the weather wasn't perfect. Anybody can run when the weather's perfect. January asks a different question. Will you show up when it's uncomfortable? Not fast, not far, just honest. If January didn't look the way you had hoped, you're not far behind. If you did make a resolution, perfect. If you have goals, amazing. Let me know what they are. You're building something that doesn't show up instantly or on your watch. And that matters way more than you think. As I said, I'm documenting what running teaches me, 1 month at a time. So here's January, the highs. I did a half marathon. The lows on that day was it was frosty. It was cold. I had gloves on my hand, which I've never done before when I ran. But there were so many highs. I pushed through the run-up program. I did it with intent, and I got that half marathon last Sunday done. And I'm extremely excited about that. And I continue to push into February to see what that brings. So I'm curious, what did January teach you about running? Let me know in the comment section below, and I'll see you at the end of February.